I'm alive.
Ooh, hello.
How are you, Marie?
I'm all right, thank you. Sorry about the barking dog.
Oh, that's all right. I've got one outside as well that's barking,
Oh,
and the farrier over the road who's shoeing three horses. So if you can
oh,
hear
yeah.
lots of commotion going on outside, then it's fine. What dog is barking?
I've got my mum's dog, Lily.
Oh,
She's a yellow Labrador. I can't show her to you because I can't move the camera because I'm on
yeah,
live.
that's fine.
But yeah, and she doesn't really jump. Do you jump coming up? No, no,
She
she
doesn't want
can't.
to.
No.
Right,
Yeah,
let me get the
she's generally
comments
quite quiet.
on.
Oh, can
Pardon?
I see comments as well? Do you think?
It won't let me post them on the screen. I don't think it will anyway. Oh, I forgot to thingy as well. I forgot to I did forget to put my do not disturb on. I could put it on here actually, and then it'll do it on that one. 1 second. Oh, ever the professional, Marie, aren't I?
You
Ever
know
the
what? Every
professional.
single one of our lives starts the same way of just a minute. I'm not quite ready.
Yeah, just not there yet. Right, that's done there. Right, so we are here today to introduce Chalmers Gems to Relax and Craft for the billionth time, because I think everybody knows who you are now, Marie.
More or less.
But if they don't know who you are, so basically, you collaborated with me on the March Relax and Craft subscription
You
box.
did.
So you sort of like gave us the go ahead to use your name and for the gemstones and everything else for the March box. So who is Chalmers Gems and who is Marie Chalmers?
Oh, what a big question. Well, I am a middle-aged lady as of yesterday. So I know I'm a gemologist. So I'm Marie Chalmers. I'm a gemologist and I am the founder of Chalmers Gems. And we are a gemstone company that is all about great value for money, high quality gemstones. So we sell mostly beads and cabochons. We do sell other bits and bobs. We do some crystals, we do some rough stones, anything gemmy that comes our way, we will sell. But we focus really on gemstones for craft and for jewelry designers and things like that. We do the odd faceted stone, it pops up every now and again, but not the high end stuff generally. So
Right.
sometimes we partner with other people who are selling faceted, but mostly we are your beads, your cabochons, and for craft. And
Yeah.
we've been going for 6 years next week. It's our sixth birthday next week. I know, can't believe that. And
That's crazy.
it is totally crazy. And we mostly live sell our gemstones. So a similar way to
Okay.
this, where we come up on the screen, we give you a code for the gemstone and you can bid on it. So the majority of our gemstones are live sold and we sell from all over the world. So if you watch our social media channels, you'll see that we travel all over the world. And from there, you can watch the process of your gemstones being cut and found and everything that goes on behind the scenes, a sort of background to what my job is. And then we will live sell from that location. So if you've got customers that want to purchase, you know, when you get the Instagram sellers and all of those people and you think, oh, I want to buy it because they look really cool, but are they real? Are they treated?
Yeah.
Are they going to send them? Am I going to spend my money and never get them?
Yeah.
We take out that middleman because you can buy directly from those marketplaces, but with the reassurance of Chalmers Gems. So and then we have a website which holds some gemstones, but nowhere near as many gemstones as we actually have. Not even
it's like a drop in the ocean on the website compared to what's
what
actually in your warehouse and in your business. But what I think is what's so lovely about what you do and so unique is that you have a real strong relationship with the people that you purchase the gemstones from, maybe in India, in China, wherever you are going. You have that relationship with them, so it's a very personable way of buying gemstones, because there's not that many steps from
no,
where it was to where you are. Whereas if you're buying from somebody obscure on Instagram, say, that sat in a Sri Lankan office selling you gemstones, you don't know where they've come from. And it's not that you know where every gemstone's come from, but you know the sort of like chain that they come through.
Yeah, it's interesting because yesterday we had a social media message from a customer who's made one purchase from us saying, can I check that your gemstones are responsibly sourced? And
Mhm.
this is actually a topic that generally gets on my nerves, to be honest, because
Yeah.
if you go to any gemstone seller, they all claim they are ethically sourcing gemstones, but
Yeah.
actually they don't understand. Well, the word ethical, I don't like anyway. I think
No.
it's very
No.
vague. It can mean anything. You can take it. There's no kind of defined term. We class ourselves as responsibly sourcing because I believe that's what we do. We are waiting for SIBJO to give the actual correct definition that the whole industry should use, but they are taking very many years to come up with this definition. But
Yeah.
so the responsible sourcing part of the business is really important. And that supply chain that you're talking about there is the key part. So, I've been doing this for probably 25 years now, as much as I don't want to admit it. But it's about relationships, which is the same for you, Fleur, isn't it? It's about the
Yeah.
relationships with the people that you work with and your supply chain, and making sure that our gemstones are as responsibly sourced as we can prove they are. There is no system of traceability for gemstones yet. They're trying. They are trying and they're working very hard, and diamonds are becoming more traceable. So they are getting there. But now there's no traceability. So no one can clean out claim, I know that every single one of my gemstones has come from
Yeah.
here. That would be
Yeah.
impossible on the
Yeah.
levels we work on.
Yeah.
Will, of course, be a miner who's literally mining his own and then cutting it. And of course, he can guarantee. But on a
Yeah.
grand scale of things, you're not going to find that. So I feel responsible to responsibly source. We go out to we visit our suppliers. We know them all personally. So they are now our friends because we've been doing this for 20 years. So they're our friends, and we know their ethics and morals of them as individuals, which then filter through to their businesses. So I guess the same for you, really, Fleur, that you know what your morals are within your business world, and which will mirror your personal world. You wouldn't be willing to, if I said to you, look, I've got this gemstone, it's really cheap, but we know that this guy died when he mined this. You would say, you know, it's not for me, find someone else. So it's aligning yourself with people who share your morals. That's how I see responsible sourcing. And you'll see that when you follow Chalmers Gems, that when we go out, we go to our supply chain, we go into the factories, they let us film the factories, behind the scenes, how things are manufactured. And it's a lot of the time about conversation, and we'll sit and we'll have dinner with them and we'll talk about, not as like an interview, but within a social situation where people tend to be a lot more honest and about how they feel about their staff. So obviously we'll deal with a lot of different cultures. So we have to be conscious that it's not in our culture to sit on the floor. It's not in our culture to have a plug socket that's wire sticking in a wall, you know, and all of those things. Actually, we're having those conversations with people. You can talk about how many days holiday are they entitled to, you know, and so what if this young lady got pregnant? What would happen on that journey? And things like that, and to give you an idea of where their standards lie, and to create discussion about what is okay within that country and what is culturally acceptable within that country. And you get a real feed. I mean, some of our suppliers, they feed all the stuff. They feed everybody every day, you know, fabulous. That's fabulous in a world where the guy who makes the tea is not going to be earning a lot of money. Actually, that meal is going to make a big impact to him. I mean, I'd love it if someone fed me every day. It was amazing. And I think so. It's all those morals that when we say they're responsibly sourced, sometimes we can trace. You know, we've been out to the Blue John mine, the Blue John watch it, brought it to you. We've been out and done that now with some of the Namibian gemstones. I would love to do that, but can't do that all over the world. So it's responsibly sourcing, being conscious of the choices we make as a business so that morally we feel that this is a reliable, ethical source, and then we're working with that supplier. If I were to walk in and think, oh God, no, we'd walk back out.
So it's more transparent buying rather than ethical buying, isn't it? It's more of a transparency to you know, to what you the door's just slammed shut, sorry. So it's more of like you I mean, you've always said to me, if you walk into somewhere that's cutting gemstones and there's children's shoes on the floor, but lots of children's shoes, you know, you like alarm bells start ringing, there's is there children working in this factory, or are they just here on because the schools are closed or something like that? You know.
I mean, that situation was a morally interesting one. So because I've done big jobs in the past, that's something that we have to check for is children working in factories. But for Chalmers Gems, we're not working with massive factories are going to hide stuff because we know the supplies. But there was an instance when we were out in a village in India, and we went to visit one of the carvers of the gemstones. And I walked in, and they don't wear shoes in a building, so their shoes sit outside the building, and there was adult shoes and children's shoes. And I was like, oh, good God. And then we went in, and I was thinking, oh dear. And actually, it was the shoes of his 13-year-old son. So then I looked, and his 13-year-old son was sitting next to him cutting. And at that point, I could have said, do you know what? You've got a child working in your facility. It's not suitable. But I didn't. I asked some questions, and he said, oh, my son's on holiday this week. It's the school holidays, and he's learning the trade. So he's coming in. And I thought, oh my God, how many times we brought our kids in?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And they help out, and they're learning what we do. And you think, there was nothing morally wrong with that situation. No. He not sent his child to school because he was sitting cutting gemstones. His child was educated. He's on holiday. He's got to learn the skills of the business, And so, sometimes you just got to ask the questions as well.
And that's how skill sets are also passed down, because some of these skill sets, I remember watching you in India with a guy carving, I think they were the Ganesh, the minis, and it's such a skill, and that will die out if nobody learns how to do that. That will just die out, won't it? Or it will get sent to a CNC machine, and it'll just get done by a machine. But that's so. Is there still is there a skill set that you think that sort of like is synonymous to a lapidrist in, say, India as opposed to anywhere else in the world, or are they all taught the same? Have you seen different things on your travels where you think actually that's really interesting?
So everywhere we go, Fleur, it's so interesting. I mean, I'd love you to come, as I've always said.
I'd love to come. Yeah,
you're going to come. But you're going to stop, so we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I visit factory after factory, facility after facility, because sometimes you can't call it a factory. And each one has their very own speciality, their niche. They do it all a little bit differently. If I think of how many jewelry manufacturers I've been into in my career, you're talking hundreds. Yet each one, I can come out and go, wow, they did this. And they all have their own little way of doing it. I think, as we're seeing in the UK, that jewelry, the craft of making jewelry is under threat. We're actually on an extinct list for a lot of our skill sets now. It's the same, sadly, in India. The younger generation don't want to sit and carve gemstones. They don't. They're educated. They want to be out the village. The world is now open to them, and so they are worried that their skills are also going to disappear, and that is a concern for all of them. And I think that this generation is probably the last of the real skilled hand carvers. I don't see any younger people coming through. Yes, this particular guy had his son working there, but I can imagine when his son gets through his education, he's not going to choose to sit there carving gemstones. When he's an educated young man, he's going to want to go and experience the world, as of course they all should. Whether they'll come back to it, I don't know. That will be the interesting part, that like we've come back to our passions in our midlife. It's not a happy word this week. So that answers that part of the question. But I think what you're seeing is the skills between the countries. I don't know if that's what you were asking. I see the differences between each country's skill set, and we work mostly with China and India. That's where most of the gemstones are worked. So China, you're looking at machine cutting on mass production. These guys are genius. They're absolute genius. They cut things like, I'll just get a bigger one from behind me, like this skull. This is cut by a machine in China. And so we hear the word machine cut and we think, oh, well, we want someone to hand cut it. But actually, this is going to be cut they won't be able to cut masses of this because each one is
Hmm.
still has to be incredible. I mean, the way that they keep the pattern in the brain and all of that, it's very well
Yeah.
thought. But if they were to mass produce that, you're looking at a different skill set, because the guys that is a machine, but the machine, they have to create the technology, they have to create the tool that will make that happen. So it's not
Hmm.
just, I'll stick it in a machine and it carves it like a 3D
Yeah.
printer.
Yeah.
A lot of skill required, but they have to design them first, which is why we get, creatures that don't quite look like creatures that we know. So they have to design them, then they have to create tools that cut those. And then with the beads, particularly, which we've been promoting on our social media this week, they are machine cut, but the amount of human interaction is insane. Some of the
Yeah.
beads, someone has to put each one on, and then they
Yeah.
turn and you think, so they're
It's-
touched by multiple human hands. There's no machine picking them up. They're still, but they're much more perfect. So you get a very different product from China as
yes.
you get from
Yeah.
India. And then China, you'll get this mass produced but very perfect product. In India, hand cut, but still on mass, and dependent on the price. And this is the bit that is hard to get across. So we try and only deal with decent cutters who actually care when they hand cut something, that if they've put facets on, that the facets join, that it's a nice finish, that they've polished it properly, that the drill hole goes all the way through the bead, not with a massive kink in the middle.
Yeah.
All of those things, we work with bead manufacturers who care about those things. But if you go on the internet and you compare, when Marie's selling a Labradorite, I don't know, faceted rondelle for 1650, but I can buy this off said channel for $9.50. Yes, but most of the strand will be unusable. The drill
Yeah.
hole, they made it work to get it on the string, but that
Yeah.
when if you're putting thread through, it's going to catch, it's going to snap, all of those things. It will probably be braided, so you get what you pay for ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think in that world of Indian beads is a massive variation in quality, and you can really get caught out. Plus a
Yeah.
lot of treatments carried out in India onto the beads, so you have to be really conscious of what you're looking for and making
And it's
sure that you
yeah.
get what you're paying for.
So I met up with a jewelry maker or a jeweler in where I've moved to now in Devon, and we were talking about tiger's eye, and I happened to have a tiger's eye bracelet on, which was from it was obviously a source that you had okayed for me to use, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And they got their tiger's eye out. And when I say it was like chalk and cheese, it really, really was. So theirs was very dull. It didn't have any chatoyancy across it. It was very dark in color with no light, sort of like no beautiful patterns. And I showed them mine and mine had like beautiful like Harry Potter zigzag, the Harry Potter scars, zigzags on them, and the most amazing chatoyancy. And he just said straight away, "Where'd you get this from?" And I was like, "Well, I have it approved by a gemologist." And he was like, "Oh, but how much is it?" And he was like, so I told him, and he went, "Yeah, but this is half price." I was like, "But it's half a gemstone.
Yeah.
It's like it's tiger's eye in the name only, in my opinion. It's sort of like the bits that probably when they've cut the gemstones that I use and that you use, sort of like the supply, they cut those gemstones, and the bits that are all on the floor, they then go and cut that, and it's a different grade, isn't it? They're different grades of gemstones, and it does show in the price point where you buy it from. But also you can buy very expensive gemstones from wherever, and they be incredibly expensive but incredibly rubbish as well.
Yeah, because of course they'll look at, so that if they're price comparing, they'll come on to someone like our website and they'll say, well, Marie can get £16.50 for hers, so I'm going to hike my price. But you're not comparing like for like. And I think that's really difficult actually for the consumer, is that when you're shopping around, even within the UK, if we look at the suppliers within the UK, how are you guaranteeing the quality that you're looking for? It's very hard to compare gemstones. So now it's back down to, if we do full circle, it's back down to the same relationship I have with my suppliers that our customers have with us, that they know if they buy that from me and they get it back and it's just rubbish, that they immediately going to be disappointed, because we have set a standard that we will affordable gemstones, but the highest quality we can get for the money. And if it's not going to hit that standard, then we just reject it. I mean, I've got bags of rejects here that people have sold me. You know,
and then, but that's what I was going to say.
Put them in the business, it goes in my brain.
But your social media is not just a social media. You're not just a selling platform, as in, like, I know you say you live sell your gemstones, but you're also an educational platform as well. And if you go to your Instagram or your Facebook pages, there are reams of videos and reels that actually go through what you're looking for as a gemologist, not only just as a gemologist, but as a business owner as well. And looking at, yes, we all know that gemstones get dyed, and there's nothing wrong with dyeing it. Spoiler alert, I'm not naturally this color. There's nothing wrong with dyeing things. There's nothing wrong with stabilizing things. There's nothing wrong with treatments, as long as they are done correctly and that the consumer or the buyer knows that they are a dyed gemstone.
It's disclosure. And it's also the law. So, and I think this part is a part that scares people. So if you're making jewelry, or like your customers are making things to sell, how scary to know that if someone from Trading Standards is walking around the craft fair that you're exhibiting at and picks up something and says, you haven't disclosed that this is dyed, and it's obviously dyed, that you can get in trouble for that. And it's so unfair on so many levels. We won't go into that. It's so unfair. And also that usually that maker has our morals. So they don't want to deceive a customer. They're happy to be honest that that's dyed if they know it's dyed. It's not their expertise. Their expertise is designing, making jewelry. So they need to know that their supply chain is disclosing that. Now, if I sell a dyed gemstone, which we do sell, but we try and sell a higher quality dye, one that's not going to leak out and one that looks really nice, and so then they need to know that it's up to them. If they just choose not to disclose it, then on your head with Trading Standards. But if you want, you should legally disclose that by law. You must disclose it. So I think that's a really nerve-wracking part for a jeweler, a jewelry designer, of who do you know to trust? How much do you have to disclose? Because if we actually go right back, all the beads are stabilized. So even we just blanket state all the beads and cabs are stabilized, because they are, and we will then disclose any other treatment because they're all stabilized. And I have sat in meetings. So above us in the jewelry industry sits this big company called Sibjo, and they are the guys who actually set the law internationally. And I have been out to the Sibjo conferences to decide, to see how they make these rules, because I sometimes find it very frustrating that they pass a rule that rubies and sapphires, if we take those as an example, all treatments have to be disclosed across all the gemstones. So in the rubies and sapphires, if you get a heated and an unheated ruby and sapphire, the difference in the price is from a few £1,000s to hundreds of thousands of pounds, right? So it must be disclosed that this is a treated heated gemstone, because it's going to have a massive impact on the price. But actually what they do when they blanket decide like that is they don't think of customers like us, who are then selling a commercial product for under £20 a strand of a heated ruby and sapphire to a customer who doesn't care. They're not expecting it to be in Cartier's window.
Natural,
you know, and they're making this rule that we have to tell all our customers, and then when they sell that tiny silver or base metal earring with a sapphire bead, they have to say, by the way, that sapphire's heated. To me, that's a little bit ridiculous. So I went actually to that meeting to see who determines. Is there someone sitting there saying, making these rules without thinking it through? But actually, what I've discovered is they do think it through, but it has to be that way because there's no other way to manage it. So
I think the craft part of the gemstone industry is obviously very, very small compared to the commercial ready-made jewelry part, because you've got tons of different levels of that, from, like you say, from the jewelry houses down to Claire's accessories. You've got
Absolutely,
lots of them. But
absolutely.
it annoys me as well with the metal, exactly the same. So before we came out of the EU, there used to be an EU law that said you can't have nickel, cadmium, and lead in your jewelry. So they made a bracket, and so everybody that's like producers in China said, okay, it's okay for the EU market, as in it doesn't have these things, or it has under the traceable limits of it.
Yeah.
But now we actually in the UK don't allow any nickel, lead, and cadmium in. And I asked 4 different big jewelry craft suppliers of findings if they had any nickel, cadmium, and lead in their findings, and they said, "Oh yeah, they all pass EU law." But we that's
We are
not.
still, yeah, so we're still using
Yes,
that
we're still
legislation. So
using that, but
yeah,
it's sort of like it's
even though we're
not
not in the EU, we're still ruled by that
right.
legislation. So
But
I mean,
if
that's a
someone's
whole
got a
topic in
nickel,
itself.
yeah, but if someone has a nickel allergy, that
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
it just doesn't help them at all. It's like for me it's like really it grinds my gears that
It is. I
we
mean, the
have
whole thing
these.
about we have this consumer is, I mean, it's consumer protection, and for
Yeah,
good reason. If you've got a reaction to nickel, it can destroy your life. It's
yeah,
it's a horrible thing. Lead and cadmium are carcinogenics. We don't want
yeah,
those to be released, so they can be within
yeah,
the product, but they can't be released
leased
onto
out.
the
Yeah,
skin. So we have all these legislations, and again, they're very difficult for us to manage at craft level,
yeah,
because it's very expensive to test the metal for nickel release cadmium and lead, but and it's totally destructive. So if I were to buy in as a small business a batch of base metal findings, by due diligence, I should send away a percentage of those at random to be tested, which means that I'm going to lose the product altogether. The
hmm,
cost is really high, so it's over £100 a test. So I'm
yeah,
going to on findings that I'm going to be selling for under £5 a pack.
yeah,
So immediately the maths isn't working, and I'm thinking I can't afford to do that. And then I know that if I actually do that, the chances are they are going to contain the contaminants, because
hmm,
I know how the world works and I deal in the
yeah,
environment. So
yeah,
we are protecting ourselves to a degree, but it makes it really hard for a small business like mine. One of the questions we get the most is, will we sell findings? And I'm like, we can't, I can't see a way around being compliant with the law, and genuinely the safety of human beings is more to my
yeah,
moral point.
yeah,
So the answer has to be no,
yeah,
because that, but however you do sterling silver findings, they don't contain any of those elements. So but so sterling silver maybe. However, I do know, and I do have to do a big shout out here, that Cooks and Gold spend an absolute fortune testing their products. So if you do want to make sure that you are
yeah,
purchasing, you can purchase from Cooks and Gold, because they are very, very hot on it. So they are
yeah,
a legitimate source. So, but you think things like that, there's this confusion around this conversation. As you're saying, you've approached people, they don't understand that this law even exists. So they've gone back to their supplier who said it's compliant with EU regulations. That's
mm,
all they want to say.
yeah,
They don't understand what they're saying, but they know they're compliant. And so when I go out, when we went out to China at the end of last year, we did sell some findings. Two things happened. I asked, could I go and film it being tested using an XRF machine to see what the percentage of silver was, because I think you'll find the majority of imported silver into the UK through all of those platforms, Temu, eBay, Etsy, all of those where it's all coming in illegally into the UK and not compliant with our regulations, it's not going to be 925.
no,
So I said, can you test it to see what its metal content is, please? And can I film it? So they said, yeah, we'll test it. So I said, can I film it? Yeah. So then the next day I'm like, can we go and film? No. Why? They won't let you in. I'm like,
no,
right. Okay. So it's not compliant. Well, it is 925. Okay, so they
Yeah.
send me a photo that it is 925, but they won't let me be there and watch it
Yeah,
being
to watch
right.
it.
Okay.
And anybody can buy one of those 925 stamps as well to
Oh,
stamp on
it's a stamp.
things.
It's not a hallmark. That's another
No,
bug.
it's not
So
a
if you've
hallmark.
got that situation, then I know that the supply chain I use supplies into the EU. So I'm looking at findings while I'm in the market and I'm like, oh, can I sell these? No. Can you sell these? No. And so I said, can I order like a small quantity of this one? And he said, no, because yours is going to have to be manufactured just for you to hit EU regulations. And
Yeah.
so I'm there having those conversations in that environment, having a huge understanding of how metal works, because I've worked for the Birmingham Assay Office for over 20 years, so worked alongside them. So I have a lot of metal knowledge. I don't have a lot of jewelry making metal knowledge, but I understand the metal. And so you think, what would happen if one of my competitors, a small company like me, who doesn't really understand, just goes out to China and sees all these findings and goes, oh my God, I can buy them all here.
For literally a tenth of a penny, yeah.
And then sell them at a massive margin, but are not understanding that they're not compliant with the EU regulations and all
Yeah,
of that. It's a whole world of
it is.
confusion, but
And
it's consumer protection. It's to protect you from getting, we should not have lead in jewelry. You don't
no,
want to poison your customers or yourselves. And the nickel thing is a real thing. That is a horrible
yeah, it's a horrible, horrible. Even down to, I mean, I even check that because I have had some chains tested last month. The February box, it was a paperclip chain, and they had to make it specifically because it wasn't in there. But even things like these are part of this month's box. Even the dye that they use, sometimes if you don't ask the question, they don't tell you. The
No.
dye that they use can be not
Yeah.
very nice as well,
Yeah.
or it's not safe, or it's not color fast. So as soon as it gets a little bit wet, your wrist goes blue, gold and red. And so it's little things like that as well, and it's having those. I think, when you're purchasing anything, you need to know. I mean, if you are purchasing a car, you just expect that car company has done all those checks as well to make sure that everything is the thing. And I think even as a small business, it's really, like you say, it's your business morals, it's your personal morals of, I want to make sure that everything that I supply is the best that I can get it. And if it's not the best that I can get it, then it doesn't get into, especially for me, it doesn't get into a box.
No,
Like things like jewelry elastic. Elastic is one of the easiest things to make. So to make a jewelry elastic bracelet is very, very simple. You need no tools at all. But that jewelry elastic bracelet is dependent on how good that elastic is, if it's going to last. If it's been sitting around for years in a factory, then it's going to have perished. It's going to be brittle. It's not going to be very good. If it's been made and it's got little nicks in it and it just snaps as soon as you put it on, you need to make sure that what you're making is fit for purpose as well. So it's like you say, it's like from the gemstone to the findings to the consumables, everything like that, it all has to be of a really, really good standard for it to then have a finished yeah.
That's what's important, isn't it? For you need to make sure that everything is of a certain quality, because that's what your brand represents. So when people subscribe to you, they know that not only are they getting great value for money in every monthly box and support from different designers, from small businesses like mine, who've worked with many, many small businesses, but also they're getting a quality product. They're not going to get something that is going to snap, that's going to leak dye on them, and all of those. And that's your brand it represents. So when you started Relax and Craft, before you started Relax and Craft, your supply chain was really key, wasn't it? And I hope you don't mind me saying, but I helped work with you to make sure everything is really compliant. You've got a really secure supply chain. If they mess with you, they're messing with me. So they don't mess.
And I literally, I have two suppliers, and that is it. I will not, if I can't get it from them, I don't get it from, and that's yourself and the other one. And I will not like move those goalposts. I wouldn't
No,
go on to
potentially
Alibaba
Amazon.
or Temu and buy gems. I just wouldn't do it, because for me that's throwing money away. Because
Yeah.
I don't know where it could be exactly the same thing. I don't know, but I have to stick within my lane, and I know what I know about jewelry. I know nothing about gemstones. I've picked up a lot of information along the way, but I don't know, I can sort of like recognize gemstones, and I know little bits about them, but it's not my speciality. So I stick to my lane of making the boxes, but I then use my wonderful friends like yourself and I think that's what's really important, is like you say, that supply chain, that knowledge, that if I get something and I go, Marie, I've got this, and you go, no. I'm straight
Yeah.
on the email to that place and saying, no, this is not good enough.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's what I think sets our kind of business apart, is that we're both educators, as in what we do. We sell, but we educate, and it's all geared around that, rather than trying to make. We're never going to be millionaires in this business, are
Sadly
we?
not. No, I don't
Sadly
think
not.
I'm
Sadly
master
not.
that in a lifetime.
But it's sort of like, it's like you've been given a skill set, and it's really lovely to share that skill set in however, you with your gemstones. And I don't know if anybody's ever watched, and we've got lots of people saying hello, by the way, but
I can see
I can't see
everybody,
them on.
so I
Yeah,
can see the comments. So hi
yeah.
everybody.
So yeah, I'm not ignoring you, that you are on here. I've got you here. But it's just really interesting to hear Marie what she talks about. But when you're doing your lifestyle, even when you're selling the gemstones, you give really, really great information about that gemstone. And your gemstone geekiness comes through loads, and I absolutely love it. So this gemstones that, I'll go, Marie, what is this? And we had a conversation last week about a gemstone, and I'm not going to say the name of it because it's not very nice. I'm like, that's never good. Why would they call a gemstone that?
Yeah,
And it's a colorway of a gemstone. I'm like,
exactly.
why would they call it that? And it's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. But
Making
it's that
stuff
kind
up.
of, yeah, it's that. And we had a conversation about what a synthetic gemstone is, as opposed to a reconstituted gemstone,
Yeah, we did.
and that umbrella of that terminology. And I didn't understand, is it synthetic or is it reconstituted? And it
Oh,
was
it was
like,
both in that
yeah,
instance, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yes, it got a bit of
like,
cement.
actually, it's a bit
Just
of
cobbled it all
everything going
together.
on here. Yeah. I think that's really important. And we've been doing. We've been going. Chalmers Gems been going 6 years, and you've been going. How many years have you been going? I
Well,
mean,
Rocks and Chains is 17 years old, which
yeah,
was my first business where I made the gemstones and made the jewelry. But Relax and Craft is now, the subscription box is 4 years old.
4 years old. And I think it's really important for those customers of yours out there who are trying to run a business, and I know I harp on about all this all the time, but it's really important to keep a support network. And that Fleur and I, some months we'll talk all the time, and then some months will go months without talking, but actually it's really important to keep your support network. And stay in a community like Relax and Craft, stay within there, ask some questions, because those people are the people who are going to support you. And and talk to your suppliers, talk to them. Don't be scared to ring and ask. Well, don't ring us because we never answer the phone, but if you message and say, I've seen this bead and I don't know what that means, like you have, Fleur, just to ask and to ask Fleur, what does that mean, in the world of, and to educate yourself as much as you can, but to stay as a community. I think that's the key part. That's the part of, I don't know how you feel about your business, but obviously with it, my business's birthday this month, and I'm supposed to have done a video outside, but it's rained for the whole month. What have we achieved in 6 years? Actually, the biggest achievement to me is the community. And I just think it's such an amazing community. Never did I sit down and think I'm going to create a business where there's going to be thousands of people who all chat to each other and support each other. I don't think I could ever have envisaged that. And it's the bit that I'm proudest of, not for myself, but for all of you. I love this StreamYard now because they can talk to each other before you start. So
Yeah,
when you go on, everyone's having a hi, everybody. And like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels so much community driven, and that
yeah,
you're supporting each other and we're supporting you. And that they know if they come to you, Fleur, they can ask you a question. If they come to us, they can ask a question. I know that
yeah,
Katie Parker is on here. I can see you there, Katie, as well.
yeah,
We often say, oh, you can ask Katie Parker about that.
yeah,
Even though I don't really know Katie personally, but I know that she's trusted, and I love that.
yeah.
And I just think that's an amazing achievement, isn't it? To create
It is.
community.
And you know, we met at a different place of work, where the community wasn't as valued as it is that we value our
Mm.
community. I really care. I don't think that I've got 150 subscribers. I've got 150 friends, and then I've got hundreds of other friends that for one reason or another don't want the subscription box, can't afford it, but still are part of that community, and they are all my friends. And literally, if they all rocked up, the kettle would be on, and we'd have a cup of tea, and we would all have something in common. And I value every single one of them. I do once a month with Relax and Craft now. I do a Relax and Craft with me, which is a Google Meet where we all just go onto Google, and it's like a little, like a Zoom if you like, and we all just have a chat. We're supposed to be doing crafting, we're supposed to be relaxing and crafting, but we don't. We just chat, and we just talk about things, and they sort out my life, like, can you what was the one? Oh, can you blitz feta to make a feta dip, that kind of thing. And we just talk about that, and it's really nice. And like on Monday, I couldn't get StreamYard to work. We were supposed to go live on Monday evening. I couldn't get StreamYard to work. And I went on the live, and I went on the group, and I just went, I'm really sorry. And you know what? Nobody went, oh, for God's sake, what are you doing, messing us about? They all just went, doesn't matter, oh, 9:30 in the morning. Oh my God, I might have to watch it back. But it's like nothing, they don't,
No, it's
they're
a
just
nice
so
community.
supportive. And like at the birthday, I got so many lovely messages. Some of them aren't on social media that you can see, some of them are private messages saying, you should be so proud of what you've done, and you should be. And the same with Chalmers Gems, what you've built there, Marie, is just incredible. And I think we both had a vision when we left where we left to say, we can do this, but we can do this so much better. We
Yeah.
could do this, and we could be more personable. We can be, that friendly. We are your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man of the jewelry world. We are that kind, but it's that kind of community driven, and it never feels pushed, it never feels rushed, it never feels hard sell. It's always that kind of, at the forefront, it is that supportiveness. And when people for me, when somebody says I've made this, literally a little part of my heart just goes, woohoo, look what you've made. That is incredible that you have made that. And I know you'll always say, Marie, I'm not a designer. Everybody's a designer, everybody, because your living room didn't design itself. You put that cushion on that sofa, that you designed where that cushion goes. That is the
Yeah.
whole thing of a designer. You just decide where something's going, and you design it. And it's just so lovely to see. And we have a lot of like cross customers as well, when they'll say, oh, I bought this from Marie, and look what I've made with it. Or I've used one of your tutorials, Flo, but I've used some gemstones. And I know our lovely Jill Houghton, she buys a lot of gemstones from yourself, and she'll say, oh, I did this with the tutorial, but look what I've made with Marie's gemstones as well. I'm like, that's incredible. Or I would never have thought of putting that color combination together. That's unreal. And we're all learning together.
Yeah, that's it. And it is a matter of support,
Yeah,
definitely. And if
yeah.
that's what we can do. You can't do that in a big corporate business. It's just not.
No,
It's
it's
possible. That's
impossible
who
to
we
do.
are. It
Yeah.
is. So I don't know. I thought I was coming on to answer questions about gemstones, Fleur, and we've now chatted constantly.
I know.
As we
I don't know.
do.
Has anybody got any questions for Marie about any gemstones? I've literally.
Ignored them all, so I don't think anyone's going to talk back to us now.
No, I think I think they're just like listening, don't they? But I was just going to quickly show you some of the gemstones. I've just got one of the gemstones. So the cabochon in this one is, look at this. The most beautiful Beautiful. I've had to close all the blinds so that because it's so bright, the sunshine outside. So we've got things like this in the little scoop. We've got the little Buddha heads, which obviously are carved, you know, in China, but you've got like incredible tiger. There's all sorts in here. There's some. These are my favourite shape to work with them in, and I think you've had some as well, Marie. And you can just quickly tell us as well in a minute. The little quadrifoils, the little very Van Cleef and Arpels shapes.
Definitely.
Gorgeous little shapes. And like even things like where's I've just seen it. Sometimes with these bead scoops you have to search.
I think that's the exciting part, is to get to root through and see what's in the bag.
And also with this month as well, the little tool that we got is just an invaluable little tool. Now you can, like most tools, you can get different levels of tools. So these ones, a lot of people have these in metal, but just a little plastic sliding gauge, so you can see the actual size of your gemstone. So you can say, I want all the 8 mils, all the 6 mils. So you can do the inner diameters of jump rings at the top. So the top section is for inner diameter, the bottom section is for your outer diameter, and then you've got a sliding gauge. It's just a really cool little tool just to put in your
cool tool. I need
really cool tool.
I'm not saying it's plastic.
Yeah, it's just plastic. Yeah, it's just a
plastic. We use a metal version, but I want one of those. That's so cute. That will fit in my gem toolkit bag.
Well, I was going to say, and it's so easy to read. They're just a lovely little thing. Yeah, I mean, I've got digital. My digital calipers were 160 something pounds. They're very, and the batteries go on them all the time.
I've got this one. Just
those, I would love one of those precedent. No, the round
one. This is the one. That's the presidium gauge. That's the best.
Yeah, they're very
one got left in India, so I've lost it. When next time I go to the Hong Kong show, I'll get another one.
And then we got lots of different findings. So again, the reason why I put this box together with being a bead scoop is there is over 150 different videos on Relax and Craft Learning Library. So 150 videos over lots of different jewelry making mediums, and the mediums that I put into this box, you will be able to do 70% of those videos. And I just thought how lovely that we could do it. So
we're very proud.
We also got our threads. So we got 3 gorgeous colors of threads. We got beading thread because everybody loves beading thread. We got elastic, and we also got 3 different wire gauges as well.
Wow. What you getting in this box?
It's jam-packed, absolutely jam-packed. And then myself, Katie and Jem all did a tutorial, and my tutorial was setting a gemstone in a macrame. So sometimes I get a lot of questions from people saying, I have somebody with a metal allergy. How can I make something jewelry wise with gemstones that I want to set it? So if they've got a cabochon, if you think of a cabochon, the easiest way to set it is with wire and with metal. So some sort of metal around it. You can set it into other things like polymer clay, but you have to glue it in. So I just thought, actually, I've never done a cabochon set on the tutorial. So let's do a cabochon. Look at this. I love this one. This aventurine.
Yeah, that's
just a beautiful. And because it's got that semi-translucency, when the light goes through it, it just glows.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Glows. This is like the feldspar, isn't it? Is it
aventurine is a quartz. It's a quartz with mica inclusions that make it the color. Yeah, make it green. It's cool under a microscope. Yeah, looks really cool.
But yeah, so that's what I did. Katie did an amazing charm necklace. Really beautiful, and she showed something that I think is invaluable, and it's setting out your gemstones and seeing the length between them and planning. So a lot of a jewelry designer is planning where everything goes. You'll see a lot of people will render a picture of what they're going to make. So a lot of the top jewelers will sit there with their pencils and they'll draw what they're going to make and how it's going to finish look, or they may use the computer programs to render it as well, which you can do. And then Jem did a beautiful, so we've got these big circles. So she did a really lovely design on wire working round one of the large frames, and then had some gorgeous dangles coming off of it as well. It was really lovely. And she also used it as a connection for the journal. So as you know, I have lots of different obsessions. So my obsession is my leather journal covers, and Jem made it so that they always attach with elastic to keep everything together. So Jem made one that's then all beaded around on the jewelry elastic, so you could make a gemstone one as well, and it was absolutely beautiful. But next month, you're going to absolutely, Katie Parker's got next month. She's got 2 tools in there, because she is a bit of a diva, this Katie Parker. I don't know if she's still watching. The Gemstones Were a Joy to Create. Oh, bless you. Oh no, Debbie's supposed to be working, but she's listening intently. Bless you. Thank you very much. That's really cute. So next month there is some gorgeous gemstones, which, as I don't give them away, so people need to know a little bit of gossip, and I can't give you any gossip because I can't give away the gemstones for next month. So Marie, you're going to have to give some gossip about what's coming up tonight on your live.
Tonight we have got, so it's our birthday month, so we've got all sorts of stuff going on. Tonight we've got a massive bead live, and it's supported by our Chinese suppliers. So we didn't do a bead wall. We're in India because we wanted to do this. So there is going to be a 4-week wait for anything that arrives, because we've got a sample of the beads and then we can order from them. This is a great way to do it because it means we can bring so many different options. So we've got a bead wall. I can't remember how many lines are in there. Loads of lines. I'm looking at Lisa. She's not listening to me. You learn to tune me out after a while. She's laughing now. We've got loads and loads of brand new beads. So that's going to be tonight's live. Saturday, we've got a physical birthday party where we've got 30 people coming. We've never done that before. So I'm quite excited about that. I don't know what they're going to want to see when they get here. I'm slightly nervous. And the reason I'm here in my bit of the office, not where in my studio where I normally am, is because I've totally destroyed the office on Tuesday and I moved everything, and you can't even get into the other room.
Oh no.
Let's clean all this, and then I've just destroyed it. So anyway, it'll be put back together because we've got the birthday party on Saturday, so it has to get put back together. So that's Saturday. Then the following Saturday, so there's no live next Thursday, I don't think. I'm sure I'm right. No, that's right. So is going to be a massive crystal live, massive.
Okay.
So that is, so with that, and then that, and the birthday, on our actual birthday, which is the Friday, we haven't told anyone this, and I don't know if it's happening really, but we hope to launch a new website. We've had
amazing.
Redesigned. Well, we're in the process of redesigning our website, and I haven't responded to the email from Monday, so maybe it's not going to happen by next Friday. But the plan is, on our actual birthday, we launch the new website. We've got some great stuff to go on it just while it launches for our birthday, so that everyone hopefully can go have a shop, mess around, tell us what doesn't work, all of the good stuff, testing the website for us. And then we aim to put on, so at the moment we're doing select your own cabs on the website, which has become really popular. Every Tuesday we put a new select your own cab, so you can pick which actual physical cabochon you want, but they keep selling out, so we're trying to add more. But
have you got any of the labradorite that you had from Tuesday?
How many of are there any left of the labradorite from Tuesday? Not very many. We haven't got round to checking those yet. No, they were really
beautiful.
Oh, well. And on the Friday live last week, I sold the whole of the rest of the pack. So I know. Wow. Do you know the amount of cabochons we sell? I can't keep up. I just can't. I need to just go live in India in the cab
Just
manufacturer because I can't keep up. I keep bringing them on. So I bought those back and we sold them on Friday, the whole damn lot of them. And I'm like, no, we've got no again. And it actually was supposed to go out to India in April, but unfortunately I can't go because they doubled the flight price. So now I couldn't. It won't make it. It won't pay for itself if I go.
yeah.
So we're a little bit scuppered on the cab front, but anyway, we'll work it out. Yes, but there are, I think, a couple of the labs left on the website. I think they didn't totally sell out, but there's Moonstone coming up on a Tuesday. They're
Wow.
insane. Larimar, that is to die, and really affordable. So all those are going on the website. And then I'm thinking about putting, I've got here some really high-end stretchy bracelets on the website, but not as a bracelet, just as a high-end bead. So we're sort of mixing it up. But firstly, we're going to launch the website. So there's all sorts going on.
That's amazing. I've got a new website as well in June or July. Mine's getting revamped. Yes, so all mine is going to be redone as well, which is very exciting. And that's what I need to do after this. I need to go and look at wording and things like that, which is good.
Really hard. I find it really hard.
Because I don't understand it. You have to sort of but I'm quite lucky that I knew that the lovely Kate she's just amazing. She is fantastic.
That looks good. So yeah,
I'll tell you what I need.
Tonight I need them all to come. Everybody come over 6 p.m. Facebook and YouTube. Mega bead live, please. I want it to be mega for our 6th birthday. So yes, if you can all come, I'll be very grateful.
I've got a quick question here from Susan. She says, very interesting chat flow, Marie. Are there any gemstones we should avoid, Marie, due to toxicity? Just don't lick them.
Right. That's rule number 1. So I don't think I know you, Susan. So hi. Rule number 1 is don't eat the gemstone. Don't lick the gemstones. They're polished with stuff you wouldn't put in your mouth. So generally don't put a gemstone in your mouth, despite what everybody tells you to put pearls in your mouth and all sorts. Don't put anything in your mouth. Right. And then there are gemstones that contain toxic elements, of course, because they're made by nature. So bumblebee jasper is the biggest one that normally gets thrown at me. We've done a lot of research. No one, as far as we know, in the entire world has died from eating bumblebee jasper. But we highly recommend that you don't eat bumblebee jasper or has died from working with bumblebee jasper. So although the gemstones contain toxic elements, there is a risk if you're cutting them. So when they cut bumblebee jasper, they have extra ventilation and things like that. But as far as we can tell, having done quite a lot of research, there is nothing damaging to wear them as a piece of jewelry. Maybe with the bumblebee jasper, you'll normally find that if you buy a cabochon bumblebee jasper, it actually has a varnish on the back just in case, so it doesn't come into contact with the skin, because people worry. But you could varnish the back if you were concerned it was going to upset a customer. But generally, I wouldn't give it too much of thought. Of course, we live in a world of social media where everyone likes a bit of clickbait. So you will find on the internet particular sellers who only tell you the negatives of all the gemstones to get their viewers up, to get paid by the platforms. So take it with a pinch of salt. I would highly recommend that you can put in to a website called Mindat, which is mineral, DAT. And there, if you put your gemstone in, it will tell you a toxicity report on it. So if you're really concerned about something, you can actually go and look and see how toxic it is. But again, just don't consume them, because it's not just the elements that within it. Some of the gemstones are radioactive. They've got all sorts of cool properties because they're grown in the earth. So there are sometimes might be things. So when I was actually in India, one of the suppliers had bought a highly radioactive mineral from Tucson, and he was about to cab it. And he got it out, and we were like, whoa, no, that's actually really radioactive. So we looked it up on Mindat, and it was like, no, don't turn that into a cab. Because that's a dangerous element that's in there. So you can't do that. So Mindat is what I'd recommend. It's absolutely brilliant platform full of all really geeky information that's probably irrelevant 90% of the time. But if you've got a particular concern, you're going to find the correct, accurate information supported by Sibjo on that website. So yes.
And also as well with Marie as well. I don't know if anybody, I know Susan, if you haven't shopped with Marie before, if you do like a gemstone or something like that, Marie will be your personal shopper as well for
Absolutely.
gemstones.
Yeah.
And if you want something that you want to kind of match up, maybe you've made something in the past and you think, actually, I'd love to remake that, or somebody's asked and you don't have any more of those gemstones in whatever variety they are, there may be the highest possibility that Marie can find it for you.
Yeah. So I do a
Because
lot of
not
personal
only does she go to like different factories and cutting manufacturers, but she also does rifling through people's drawers for a
It's a big,
living.
it's a habit. It's a slight addiction. Yeah, if there's anything that you are particularly looking for, sometimes I can't, and I'll come
Yeah,
back and say no, I can't find that.
yeah.
But if it's around, then it will. I'm bound to find it somewhere. If you really
Yeah.
want something, we're doing a lot of personal shopping now. So we actually one trip we did out to India was just for personal shopping because
Mhm.
I couldn't actually fulfill it by being in the country, and I couldn't tag it into a trip. So we do a lot of personal shopping. The other thing that's really becoming very popular in the world of Chalmers Gems is to keep the code on your packet and then text it to message us,
Yeah.
and we'll order it in the next shipment. So
Yeah.
there's often a wait because you have to wait for me to be shipping a quantity of stuff out. I
Yeah.
can't be like Temu and ship one thing at a time. The Chinese government pay for your shipping. They won't pay for my shipping.
Yeah.
So as long as you're willing to wait, then we
Yeah.
can find pretty much anything. But yeah, if it's available, generally we can find it. But do remember that lots of the gemstones, they come in and out. They'll find a vein of something, they'll cut it. You'll see it 6 months later on someone's Instagram. By then, it's gone. So there is that. That's when I come back and say it's or there's
Yeah.
only junk left and you don't want junk.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably the more common. Yeah, but personal shopping is
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And
And
also Marie also does personal well, not personal shopping, but you can design jewelry as well with yourselves as well.
yeah, so that was just due to customer demand, really, that people keep asking us to make things into jewelry. So, and which I would end up sending it out to different people saying, and I felt like a bit of a nuisance to them. Can you make this? Can you do this? And then I thought, you know what? I mean, we have the total skill set to do it. It's just something we'd never done. So if you want something made, and particularly if it's diamonds set or something, particularly if there's diamonds, because that's a whole level of expertise on another world, then we can do that as well. We've also started doing build your own jewelry lives in India, and they are very popular, where you can buy a cabochon from us and then we'll live quote you to have it made in a pendant or a ring. And that's really fun, and that's brilliant. So we'll do just anything jewelry. If you've ever got any question, because I'm in the heart of the jewelry world all the time. If you've ever just got a question, like Fleur and I have talked about the metal toxicities, then just message and say, could you have any information on this? Can you go? And if I don't know, I'll say, try this person. I'm likely to know the person who's the specialist. And I have launched another business called Behind the Jewelry, which is going to do more of that.
Yeah,
that's what that's for. But it's just Chalmers Gems is taking over my life, so I can't quite put the effort into that at the moment. But yes, so any questions, you can always ask anything, and we'll find you someone who can answer.
Fantastic. Well, I think you need to get back to work now, because Lisa's probably got a list of jobs now for you to do, and she's like, come on now.
What other beads I can add into the live? I'm looking at this box over there thinking there's loads of beads I've forgotten to put in.
So tonight,
no.
So people can find you tonight on your Facebook page, Chalmers Gems, or on your YouTube channel, or vice versa, and you will be seen on either one. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. You don't have to flip between the two. And basically, all you're going to do is just watch, fall in love with a billion different beads, put your code in, and then Marie will get those made for you.
So they'll come in, and then you put the code into the comment section, and then send us your email address, and we send you an invoice, and then that's it, they're ordered. And then, like I said, tonight's live, there is going to be a delay because they've got to be cut and sent over, but they'll be with you before you've remembered you've forgotten that you've ordered them. That's what happens.
You've got a variety of price ranges as well, so you'll get, there's something for everybody.
Like £4, does it? £4 tonight. It's really, they're starting. I was putting this strand on and I just thought, oh my God, how are they doing this for this much money?
Crazy.
Starting at £4 and then going up, and there's lots of rounds. So your staples, things like your tiger's eye, like we talked about, your rose quartz, your black vein jaspers, your amazonite. So lots of the staples, and then some new shapes, some new rounds, some really nice apatite, green apatite. There's some all sorts of different stuff in there. Yeah, it's
There
going
you
to
go.
be
So
lots
grab
of
a cuppa, get your tea eaten before 6 o'clock, and then just sit and watch. Put your headphones in if you've got other people that don't want to listen. Put your headphones in and just watch and learn as well, because it'll be just as much learning as there will be beautiful gemstones to buy.
I hope so.
All right, Marie, thank you ever so much,
Thank
and
you
thank you
very
so much for helping with this March box. You know, I always love a Chalmers Gems box.
much.
I
We
can't
love
get enough of them, and hopefully we will be doing another one next, maybe
yeah,
soon.
yeah.
Definitely soon. Right, my lovely, thank you ever so much, and everybody that's watching, don't forget, if you're not following Chalmers Gems, go and drop them a follow now so you get notified when they do go live this evening at 6 p.m. and Saturday as well. Don't forget Saturday.
Yeah.
And I will be doing the Relax and Craft with me. I think it's next Sunday. So yeah, unfortunately there are no spare boxes because everybody wanted a Chalmers Gems box and they all went. So there is no spare boxes to go on the website. I do apologise. I've had a few people asking, oh, can I get a spare box? And unfortunately there are no spare boxes. They've all gone. So it's not long to wait till Katie Parker's box with her 2 tools, because she's greedy like that, Marie, wanting all these tools and everything else, and 5 different gauges of wire as well. But there we go. She's a diva, absolute diva. Right, so I'll be watching tonight. I'm sure that there'll be something there that I go, oh, I need that. So I will be watching, and come and say, don't forget to say hello to Marie if you've never watched before. Say hello and say I watched you this morning on Relax and Craft.
Yeah.
Right, I shall let you get on with your work now.
Tuning in. See you soon.
Yeah, see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.